All right, greetings everyone. Today we're going to take a look at time plots. You'll notice right here I have a very familiar looking kind of line graph. What makes this a time plot is we are taking a look at, in this case, percent of class that are freshmen. So in any given class, I don't know, let's say this is calculus. Oh, let's get a different color here. So here's calculus. College level calculus, and they are tracking over time. In 1985, they collected data from individuals, and those individuals reported that they were in calculus. 10% of the individuals said that they were in calculus. So they put down, or it's a little bit more intense, like 12%. So in 1985, they charted 12%, 10%. We're up to 28%. So really all we are doing is taking a look at how many in each given year. It's almost always, in fact I'd say should be always, that time is your horizontal axis. Time is always put down here, where then the quantity, or in this case the percentage, is put on your vertical axis over here. So here's an example of a time plot, and what we are going to notice is that there are a lot of variations. It went down, it went up and down, but overall we look for trends. A trend is an overall progression that's going upwards. Here's another example of something with a little bit more variation from year to year. There's ups and downs, but overall we can kind of see a trend. This is average tuition fees, so private institutions and public institutions. You can even see kind of some areas where both of them dropped, and you can see that overall the trend is that it's rising. But if you take a look at these trends and you can think about your algebra, you can see that this has a much steeper slope, so it's rising at a faster rate than the public institution. Still rising though. Doing graphs like this, I'm going to jump over to the information from one of the tables, or that's used for one of the tables. This one's listed as example 110 from the book, and I was just looking to see where example 110 looks like water levels in the Everglades. Doing a time graph, just like any of the other things, we can kind of put it together in a lot of different ways, but one of the things to do, and let me just grab a pen here. One of the ways that you would simply do it would just be very time consuming, especially if you're doing this by hand, is listing each one of these dates. Here's 8/15 and here's 8/16. You could do it that way, or you could average these things together and put them all in 8 and kind of say, this is what it was on average in August of 96. There's a lot of ways to do that, and basically it would be taking, you'd have, here's 0.13, 0.14, and you could have all of your numbers listed up, 0.23, etc., and you're just making the marks on each one of these things where it falls, and then you're going to sit back and look at the bigger picture. But honestly, this is where, not only in here but also in some of the other sections, we want to know how it's built, but we also want to be able to build them using technology, especially when I show you in this one in particular that this is made up of hundreds of entries going all the way down 96, 98. We'll just keep scrolling down here. It looks like it goes all the way up to 99. There's 1,000 entries. I'm not going to do that by hand. So one of the things that we can do with Excel, we can also do it in other spreadsheet software, is we can insert a chart. And basically, this is a very simple thing. I'm going to want this chart to have 2 pieces of information. Excel nowadays is smart enough that it starts to figure out what it is that you're measuring. It's going to recognize that I'm measuring times and I'm measuring things. And so when I go over here to insert, I can find charts, and you can jump to recommended charts as being one of the types that it does, and it will recommend different types of charts for you. Or you can pick charts out that you can kind of customize yourself. For in this case, I could do like a scatter plot and kind of have it connected or not connected. That's one of the ones that it really recommended for me anyway. So I'm just going to go back to recommended charts. This one right here, I could use really any of them, but this one, it just shows a time plot. It's got all the things connected. It goes up and down, and I'm going to hit OK. Other things that you can do within the chart, which is really nice, is I can obviously change the size of the chart, make it easier to read, etc. But you can also edit some of the information for the chart. How you want it to work. You can filter things. You can change the data that you're using, etc. We'll get into a lot of those things later, but for right now it gives you a really quick and dirty time plot that goes up and down. Now, we talked about the fact that there's variation, but we also want to notice here that there is something that seems to be a cycle. You'll notice in 1996 in October, it was at its highest point here. It went all the way down, and it continued down for really about, I don't know how many months that would be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. It went all the way down until, May. So here was October, it was at the high, and then May. And then if you look over here again, right around October, it hit its peak again, and then May, and then it's kind of gotten lower. Notice that peak has gone down, but also it's not getting as low in May. But if you look at that, you can start to see a cycle. And we can see, this cycle repeating itself from October to May, being in conjunction with the dry and rainy seasons wherever this is. But it's not just how high it got, and if we were to be able to zoom out and look at even more data, we would want to look for a trend. Yeah, maybe it's doing this, but is that trend going in this direction? Meaning the water level is rising. And you could start to think about, well, why is the water level rising? Perhaps it's because of global warming and, ice caps melting, etc., etc. Even though there's still low points and high points, we might see in the bigger picture a trend going one direction or the other. So that's a time plot. And once again, being able to do some of those with Microsoft Excel is really important. So in the next video, kind of in the wrap-up, I'm going to show you how to do the histogram, which is going to be a pretty significant one. I'll show you how to do a histogram with Microsoft Excel. I might put together another video that shows you how to do these things in Google Docs as well. So that's a time plot, and we'll see you next time.